Yes, he has the same name as you. So he was visiting us, and I thought that it would be nice if we could meet him as well, along with Alama Heather Naqi as well. So he's obviously here. So can everybody please recite a loud salawat? Allahumma. You have to you'll have to keep it very close to your mouth. Very close to your mouth.
Right here. आगे आ जाए please.
आगे please.
Good enough.
Boys आगे आ जाए, girls थोड़ा सा Boys आगे आ जाए please. Boys, you know this already. Thank you. Other boys. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين. Please recite salawat. So I still need to fix this. Yeah. Sorry. Can help me. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, it's falling off. So I hope everyone can hear me. Yeah? You can hear me? Okay. Maybe I should hold it.
Okay, it's already at its max.
Okay. Okay. This is good enough. Okay, I think. I would like to hold it. Yeah. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all thanks to Almighty Allah for having given me the opportunity to take part in the Azadari of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and it's an honor to be present here in this Majlis and do zikr for this gathering. Please recite another salawat. Muhammad. So the topic I am supposed to present over here today is very fascinating. It always fascinates me, and I'm always interested in it. And the topic I'm about to introduce today, I actually came across it when I was doing my research for my master's thesis, and it was very exciting, and each time I discuss it, each time I read it, it is still fascinating and exciting for me. So the task that I have today is to bring that complex and complicated discussion which I have always found interesting, and simplify it for this gathering today. So some people might criticize me for having brought that complex topic here in this majlis, but I believe that the kids, I'm going to discuss this. So the children, I believe, have a high ambition. They are more ambitious than we adults are, and I believe that, and I always wish that someone had told me when I was this age. So inshallah, I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to bring a lot of examples, and you will find that the topic is transformative, that it helps you in understanding yourself, it helps you in understanding religion, it helps you in understanding this world. So with a loud salawat, inshallah I'll begin this. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So I'll begin with a very simple question, and the question is, what would you like to do when you grow older, when you are an adult? What would you like to do? What would you like to do as a profession, for example? Yeah. So that's the question I'm putting on the floor. Yeah. Okay. So.
And you'll have to be a little louder. I'm so sorry for that.
Yeah. So the question I'm going to start with is, what would you like to do when you grow up as a profession, for example? What would you like to become? Yeah. Please. You would like to become a Maulana. Anyone else? Yes, please. Yeah. Okay, you want to be a YouTuber or an architect? Okay, who else? Who else? Anyone? We want one another. Yeah. You want to be an engineer? Okay. Okay. So we have three answers. We're going to build upon these answers. So one of the brothers said he want to be a Maulana. I would ask you, and I would also ask all of the other people present here to think over this. So if you want to be a Maulana, would you be content? Would you be satisfied after, for example, learning or seeking education for, let's say, 5 years? Yeah. You would like to have more, right? So for example, if you have studied for 6 or 7 years and someone asks you, would you like to have more knowledge? So you would still like to seek more knowledge. And the brother who said that he would like to be an architect, so he won't be content with building, for example, one house or one home. He would like to build more homes. He would like to, for example, if he has an architectural firm, he would like to own more firms, more than one, more than two. And if he's asked to have, for example, if someone asks him that I want to give you another firm and you can own another firm, he would like to have more firms. So what the point I'm trying to make over here is that we as human beings, we seek more and more. So there are conquerors in history. For example, there was a famous emperor by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte. He was a French emperor, and he started off with being a general. He was a general, and then he became a emperor of France, whole of France. But he wasn't content. He wasn't satisfied with being the emperor of France. He then invaded Belgium, but he still wasn't satisfied. He then invaded Germany, but he still wasn't satisfied. Then he invaded Italy, then Spain. He wanted to conquer the whole of Europe, but he wasn't satisfied. Similarly, if you see, yeah. So similarly, if you see the politicians that we have, so the politicians are seeking power, more and more power. So the human beings, this is a fundamental characteristic of a human being to seek more and more. So I think you are not old enough to remember that at one time the brand Pepsi, the cola brand Pepsi, they used to run their commercials with the motto "Ye dil mange more." Yeah, so the old people, the ones who are of our age would remember that Pepsi used to run their commercials with this motto "Ye dil mange more." So that was a really good psychologically that was a really good point. This herd really wants more and more and more. So it's not content with what it's given. So if there's a student like myself, if you ask him, would you be content with what you have studied, and if we give you more knowledge, would you like to have more knowledge? And I would always say, yeah, I want more knowledge, and I want more knowledge, and I want more knowledge. I won't be satisfied with less knowledge, right? So the point I'm trying to make over here is that we are seeking unlimited knowledge, we are seeking unlimited power. For example, another example, you know Elon Musk, right? So he's either one of the richest persons on the planet, or he's one of the first three, right? So they are always competing with each other for the first three positions. So Elon Musk, he's planned to go to Mars in I'm not sure which year, but very soon. So after going to the Mars, and after colonizing Mars, and after using up all the resources of Mars, do you think he would be content with Mars alone? Would he not like to go to another planet, then Venus, for example, and after Venus, then Jupiter, and then other planets? So the point I'm trying to make over here is that through these examples, through self-introspection, and if you look inside yourselves, we understand that there's a desire for the unlimited, right? So we seek unlimited power, we seek unlimited knowledge, we seek unlimited pleasure. So we as human beings seek and strive for this unlimited. So I want you to realize this. So if you are accepting this, if you are accepting this point, please recite another salawat. Allah. Sorry. So this was the first point that I wanted to make, and building upon this, we know that after we know that we have unlimited desires, and human beings are seeking unlimited power, unlimited knowledge. Even the ones who are doing welfare work, they are not content with doing, for example, just by eradicating education, just by eradicating illiteracy. They are not content with that. They would like to do, for example, more welfare works and more welfare projects. So, for example, the person who is trying to eradicate illiteracy in Pakistan, he won't be content and satisfied with Pakistan only. He would like to move out, for example, the whole of Middle East. So this was the first point that I was trying to make. The second point is this need for the unlimited, this thirst for the unlimited, this cannot be satisfied through material means, right? So why? Because firstly, our age, our lifetime is very limited. We are in this world, for example, for 50, 60 or 70 years. If we are very lucky, we will be here like for 100 years, not more than that. So our lifetimes are very limited, and we have unlimited desires. And another problem is that there are many people in this world, on this planet, who have the same unlimited desires, right? So we are competing with a lot of people who have unlimited desires. So the result is that all of us won't be able to reach those desires, and many of us would be left out. So there can only be one Prime Minister of Pakistan, there can only be one President of Pakistan, and even the Prime Minister and President of Pakistan cannot be the Prime Minister or President of India, and he would like to have more power, but that is not possible in this world. So we have other desires as well. This was point 2. We have other desires as well. For example, we have the desire to drink. We feel thirsty. When we feel thirsty, we drink water, and then that thirst is quenched. And when we feel hungry, we eat food, and then that need is quenched, right? So is it possible for God to have kept this desire, this unlimited desire in ourselves, and then not be possible for us to fulfill it? Is it possible that God kept this desire in us without any purpose? Is it to be fulfilled? So if you are a materialist, the materialists and the atheists, they say that these desires cannot be fulfilled because there is only matter, there is no life after death. These cannot be fulfilled. But religion, monotheistic religions, they offer us the option of fulfilling these desires. And that option is Qurb Ilahi. So through Qurb Ilahi, through seeking nearness to Allah, because Allah is unlimited, because Allah has unlimited power, because Allah has unlimited knowledge, if you go closer to Allah, if you meet Allah, if you are in union with Allah, then you can fulfill your unlimited desires, right? So I'd like to make this point clear through some of the ahadith that I have written over here. So I'm going to read the ahadith. Please recite salawat. So there's a hadith Qudsi, and you would know hadith Qudsi is a hadith in which Allah himself he's talking to the Prophet, right? So the normal hadith, the Prophet is speaking himself, and the companions and the scribes, they're writing down. In the hadith Qudsi, Allah is addressing the Prophet, and he's communicating directly with the Prophet. So in a hadith Qudsi, God, he speaks and he says that, O children of Adam, I'm independent. So God is saying that I am independent and I do not become needy. So Khuda beniyaz hai, he doesn't need anything, right? Obey what I have commanded you, so that I may make you independent and you do not become needy. So if you obey Allah, he'll make you independent like himself. He'll make you godlike, right? So, and the hadith continues, O children of Adam, I am alive and I do not die. Obey what I have commanded you, so that I may grant you life and you do not perish. So one of the fundamental problems that we as humans face is that we die, and there are unlimited desires, and we die with those desires. So God is saying over here is, what he's saying is that if you obey me, I'll make you like myself. I'll make you eternal and you won't perish. So again, that desire is being fulfilled, that the promise of the fulfillment of this desire is over there. Then the hadith continues, O children of Adam, whenever I tell a thing to be, I say be, and it becomes. Obey what I have commanded you, so that I may make you in such a way that whatever you desire, you say be, and it happens. So again, indicating that characteristic of power, that need of power. So all of these politicians over here, all of these people who are seeking to invade planets and conquer planets, their desire is to seek more and more power. So God is saying over here, if you obey me, I'll make you like myself, and you will be able to command things. You will be able to command creatures. Another hadith, this hadith is called Qurb Nawafil. So this is part of the hadith Mi'raj. When the Prophet went to Mi'raj, God addressed him and said this hadith. So this hadith reads, no servant of mine seeks nearness to me with anything more beloved to me than what I have made obligatory upon them. So there are some obligations, there are some wajibat. When you perform the wajibat, you get closer to Almighty Allah, right? So then the hadith continues, then they continue to seek nearness to me through supererogatory or recommended acts until I love them. So if you do wajibat and if you do mustahabbat, you get closer to Allah, and then he says that I start loving them, I begin loving them. And when I love them, I become their hearing with which they hear. So there is an innate desire to seek unlimited knowledge. So God over here is saying that if you obey me, and if I start loving you and you love me, then I become your hearing, I become your eyesight. So you would be able to see through me, you will be able to hear through me, you will be able to access my unlimited knowledge, unlimited power. I become their hearing with which they hear, their sight with which they see, their tongue with which they speak, and their hand with which they grasp. If they ask me, I will surely grant their request. So this was another hadith that I read. So there are a few ayat as well. I would recite only one. So one of the ayat is in Surah Qaf, where, in fact, in Surah Zukhruf, verse number 17, فيها ما تشتهيه الأنفس وتلذ الأعين وأنتم فيها خالدون. I'll read the translation now. And therein, that is the paradise, therein will be whatever the souls desire and eyes delight in. You will remain in it forever. So that thirst for the unlimited, for eternity, for having the need to fulfill your unlimited desires, it will be given in the paradise. So these were few ahadiths and one of the ayah that I read, and all of these are point to the direction that we have an inbuilt compass. So if I have to present this in another, I would like to have your attention, please. Thank you. So yeah. So okay, recite a salawat, please. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So I made 4 points over here. I wanted you to realize this and to be able to feel these points, right? So this was not random religious knowledge. This was realization. You can realize this from your inner self. So the first point was that there are unlimited desires. We have unlimited desires, and it doesn't matter whether you are Asian, you are South Asian, you are European, you are American. Every person, every human being has unlimited desires. We need to accept that. The second point was that, I'm trying to conclude, the second point was that these desires cannot be fulfilled through material means. That those desires cannot be fulfilled in this world, because we are about to die sooner or later. The third point was that these desires do have a purpose, and they ought to have a purpose. So God, who is wise, who is Hakim, could not have put these desires in us without a purpose. And the fourth point was that, and the fourth step was that these desires can be fulfilled through Qurb Ilahi, through proximity towards Allah, through nearness to Allah. And for this last point, I quoted 2 ahadith and 1 ayah. So this was all that I wanted to deliver today, and I hope you came to this realization. This is very important. This point is very important. This is very transformative, I believe. For me, myself, it has been very transformative. Why? Because the reason is that the religion, it's trying to take you towards that goal, towards infinity, towards the unlimited. So while the religion is commanding you and forbidding you from certain things, religion is drawing certain boundaries and limiting you, but the ultimate goal is God Himself. The ultimate goal is to become God-like, to share in the characteristics of God and attain the power and knowledge of God, and ultimately the happiness that you receive after that pleasure. So these were a few points that I tried to make. Please recite another salawat. So one of the ways that we can achieve and attain proximity to Allah is through these majalis azadari, through weeping for Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein, when he was leaving Makkah for Karbala or for Kufa, he said that whoever wants to meet God, whoever wants to achieve proximity to God, meaning that ultimate goal, should come with me, should be my companion. So when we weep for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when we hear his masaib, what we are doing is we are sharing in his goal. We are trying to go closer towards his goal, and that is proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'll just offer my salam to Imam Hussein and then proceed towards Masaib. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu ala al-Hussein wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussein wa ala awlad al-Hussein. On the 11th day of Muharram, the heartless Umar ibn Sa'd gathered the bodies of his men and buried them and offered namaz-e-mayyat for them. But what about the bodies of Imam Hussein and his companions? They were left on the scorching sands of Karbala. Do they not deserve a respectful Muslim burial? These heartless people left the Imam and his companions shroudless on the scorching sands of Karbala. Umar Sa'd then took the women and children and few remaining men of the Ahlul Bayt as prisoners and began moving them towards Kufa. They were forced to sit on the bare backs of the camels without saddles, without shade. These little girls, their soft hands were tied with ropes. They were taken away like slaves and like enemies of Islam. Imam Sajjad was very sick at the time, and so sick he couldn't even maintain his balance on the camel. So these heartless people, what they do, they put iron chains on his neck and tied his feet to the camel so he doesn't fall off. The caravan of the captives passed through the bodies of the martyrs. They were made to pass through the bodies of the martyrs, and when this happened once again, Zainab salamullah alayha, she saw the sacred bodies of her brothers, of her cousins, of her sons, her Abbas, her Hussein, her Ali Akbar, her own and Muhammad. As these ladies saw their loved ones, they were overwhelmed with grief. They started wailing and slapping their faces. It was at this point that Lady Zainab made such sorrowful remarks that the narrator says that even the foes, friends and foes alike, they were weeping and they were moved to tears. So what did she say? What were her words? These were her words. So this is what she said. Ya Muhammada, Ya Muhammada, O Muhammad, O Muhammad. Salla alayka malaikatu sama. The angels of heaven send blessings upon you. Hada Husaynun bil ara. This is Hussein lying in the desert. Murammalul biddama. Drenched in blood. Muqatta'ul a'da. His limbs severed. Ya Muhammada wa banatuka sabaya. O Muhammad, your daughters are captives. Wa dhurriyatuka muqattala. And your progeny has been slain. Tasfa alayha saba. And the wind is blowing over them. My salam upon you, O Zainab. O Zainab, this is the final parting between you and your beloved father. O Sakina, O Ruqayya, pay your final respects to your father. You will never again hear your father's loving voice and never again feel the warmth of his hugs. After the caravan of the prisoners had left, the shroudless corpses of the martyrs were still lying under the sun. Some of the reports say that the corpses were lying there for 3 days. When the Banu Asad, the tribe of Banu Asad, when they finally arrived, they wanted to bury the corpses, but they couldn't do so. They were confused. You might ask, confused because of what? They were confused because they didn't know which body belonged to whom. How can you recognize the bodies that were separated from their heads, or those that had been trampled under the hooves of horses? A miracle occurred here. Imam Sajjad escaped Ibn Ziyad's captivity in Kufa and reappeared in Karbala. He assisted the Banu Asad in identifying the bodies. Banu Asad were not allowed to bury Imam Hussein. Only an Imam can bury a previous Imam. So Imam Sajjad had to do this task himself, this difficult task. when he wanted to bury and carry the remains of his father, he required a mat to do that because the body was so mutilated. He asked for a mat for his father's remains to be carried. Then he carried the body and then he laid it to grave, and after having buried his father, he wrote on the grave with his fingers. He wrote, هذا قبر الحسين بن علي بن أبي طالب الذي قتلوه وتشانا غريبا. This is the grave of Hussein ibn Ali, who was killed thirsty in a foreign land. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين فسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. May Allah accept our ibadat. May Allah hasten the reappearance of our Imam.